What's going on, Cancer? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and how you feeling today? You feeling pumped up? The moon is in Aries. I really kind of like when the moon is in Aries. This is a really, I feel, invigorating time. Something to get the energies moving, something to reignite your passion or even to start a new passion here. We're really going to get into this one. But before we jump into that, if you're new to this channel, welcome. And know that when you're coming across this video, you're in sync with the moon and she loves that. And this is also a place for you if you have Cancer in your placement. Sun, moon, rising, maybe Mars, wherever. This one's for you. Or if you just like syncing up with the moon, I support that always. And I do tarot card spreads based on our lovely ruler here, the good old moon. And I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, and when she's going to avoid a course. Just all those lunar shenanigans. Just a plenty. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what fits into your story, discard the rest, and everything will be dope, Cancer. Now, I was thinking I always look that way. Let's switch it up. Let's jump into it. Excuse me. All right, Cancer. So, just so you know, I'll get to that in a minute. But depending on when you're watching this, happy Mercury Day. Mercury is associated with Wednesdays, and this is a great day, I feel, especially with Mercury being in Virgo right now. This can be a really great time for, one, getting some things in order, kind of looking at your day-to-day and see how has things been fluctuating, how have things been functioning, could things be running a bit smoother, what are some things that we can adapt here. But overall, this can be a great time for learning new things. This could be a great time for communication. This could be a great time for, especially if you're in any sort of like managerial maybe type of position, maybe hosting meetings during the Mercury hours, especially when Mercury's in like kind of strong energies like air signs or even some of the earth signs and things, to help get stuff organized, to be very productive during those periods of time. But also I try to use those as a time to, if I have any sort of like meetings that I want to schedule, or maybe some studying that I want to do, work with that mercurial energy, maybe even doing some like business transactions, things along those lines. Mercury is great for that. Now, depending on when you're watching this, I'm going to be shuffling here too. On the 18th, the moon is September. The moon is going to be entering into Aries at about 2:24 a.m. and that's going to be Pacific time. It's going to be forming about 3 aspects, so it's going to be kind of a milder period while she's in Aries, and she's in a waning gibbous phase, or also known as a disseminating moon phase. Now, let's talk about when the moon is in Aries, because I like this. The moon is under the dispositorship of Mars, who's in her home sign of Cancer. So there's this mutual reception that's going on, and when we have that, the planets the planet and the luminary are supporting one another. So, and even though Mars and Cancer is in his fall, the moon is able to help provide the resources. Granted, it would have to be through a little work, considering that the two are talking at a square aspect, but what I could see happening while the moon is in Aries, this could be a time to kind of ask yourself, has there been any sort of like excitement in your life? When you wake up, I don't mean you don't have to feel like you're all life, but do you feel like, all right, I'm looking forward to the day. Okay, let's get this thing going. You know, what's getting you out of bed? What is driving you each day? Do you have some sort of like, do you have like things that you're looking forward to, something that spurs the energy up? And if not, what are some things that you can do to change that? Aries can be great for that. They are the cardinal fire sign. And so maybe you're wanting to revisit some maybe old hobbies that you used to like. Maybe you used to like dancing and maybe making more time for that. Maybe you like to do some woodworking. Maybe you like building computers, whatever this thing, like, you know, if you ever had one of those times where it's just like, man, I really want more time for X. Then that moon in Aries can be a great time to get that started. And like I was saying, even though the moon Moon and Mars are technically going to square with one another, with the work, the effort is going to be worth it. I feel in the long run, and just going to make the rest of your journey just more approachable as well. I feel when you have something to look forward to each day, it makes it just more just enjoyable, more I don't want to say more bearable, but just yeah, I will say with more enjoyable. But one thing I like about one thing I feel like to pay attention to with the moon in Aries, though, is looking at where we've maybe been repressing some passions and things along those lines. You've been wanting to do stuff, but there's always been this challenge, there's always been that challenge, and then the third, the one concerns that I feel that could happen with Martian ruled signs, we're talking Aries and Scorpio, is when that energy doesn't have anywhere to move. That's when that unconscious, that sort of that generic sort of like when you hear Aries, they think like, oh, impulsiveness and things along those lines. I don't think that's necessarily in like just their nature. I think it happens just when they don't have the energy, when they don't have any focus towards their energy. So it just builds up, and then we're just here. And so this could be a great time to just really have a focus, have some sort of drive, and really kind of stick through with this thing, see something through. Just find a creative hobby, find something that really just kind of lights you up during this moon in Aries. Now, let's talk about the phase that she in with the waning gibbous. This is the phase that's like right after the full moon. So now we're really kind of processing. We've seen the picture clearly, whatever intention that you're setting out, whatever ideas are coming through, and even just thinking about the meaning of disseminating. It's like a sowing of seeds. It's like scattering stuff throughout. It's a little different, I feel, than the new moon. Well, of course, because I feel like it's analyzing what has been kind of disseminated, and it's just like what's working and what seems like a real kind of plausible thing that you're really passionate about that's really going to work, and what are some things like maybe I want to save that for a different lunar cycle, maybe I don't want to take on too much on my plate. So the disseminating moon is a great time for reflection, for thinking about what changes have come up for you during this time, and what actions are you looking. We're in the reflecting part of the lunar cycles now, and where do you see what are some things that we're going to have to maybe let go when we get to the last quarter moon, in order to make some of these newer revelations that may have happened during the full moon come to fruition. If that you that's what I got for you. That could have definitely been more graceful, and it's fine. We're gonna move on, but let's talk about the void of course. Now, that's going to be happening on Jupiter Day, the 19th of September, and it's going to happen at 8:13 p.m., and again, that's Pacific time, and it'll go until Venus Day, the 20th of September, till about 2:02 a.m., and so we're looking at about a 5-hour and 49-minute void of course time. And I'm working with the traditional planets, so at least when I'm working with the void of course time periods in general, but the aspect that she forms with the celestial body usually flavors the void of course period, and she's forming an opposition with Venus. Now, how I can see this as, because the void of period is one way of how I like to look at it, is reflecting on what happened while the moon was in Aries. And with that opposition, if there was something that you're desiring, something that you're wanting to change, something that you're maybe wanting to revisit, or maybe something that you're wanting to start up, how you've seen the challenges with that opposition. Okay, this is what I want to attract, but I'm going to need to make more time for this. Maybe you have kids, you're going to have to work around their schedule. Maybe you have a spouse, whatever that's looking like. We've got to do some moving around some pieces, but I feel this void of course can be one where it's like, okay, let me really get this game plan. Maybe not necessarily starting this up just yet, but it can be, if you've just been getting those nudges, just write down the rubric of what that would look like. Okay, in order to do this, I'm going to need to move this, move that, and then you can really kind of meditate on that. Like, okay, is this how I want to do this? Sit with it, and then when the moon gets into Taurus, then we can really start building. The moon is strongest, or not strongest, but really after a home sign of Cancer, the moon is very celebrated in Taurus. So that can be where some real fruitful long-term growth can happen. So let this moon in Aries, I feel, be a time of inspiration. Let it be a time of just like invigorating, if not necessarily starting actions, just putting some invigorating your thoughts possibly, because with that opposition, that means that Venus, she's still in Libra, and she's got a couple more days while she's there. Well, she's gotten to, because she's gonna, when is she moving? Yeah, she'll be moving into her detriment of Scorpio here soon on the 22nd. So while we still have some of this very attractive law of attractive Venus energy, utilize that to see what the challenges are, and then what's going to be your game plan going forward is how I would work with these energies here. And if you are curious about how these energies are working with you more personally in your chart, down in the description box below, I have a couple of links. One of them is to book a free consultation call with me to find out what services I provide, see what kind of things that you're trying to grow and things that you're trying to work through, and see what service is most appropriate for you. Or I also have these lunar groups that I've started up, and we meet. I host one every month, and it's always going to fall on the day of the full moon, and we're working over a 27-month period. We really do some really deep growth here that we're focusing on this sector of your house and watching that area grow. And so if that's something that is resonating with you, again, I have all that down in the description box for you. And then again, feel free to ask any questions for me, or even sending kind of like messages maybe through like Instagram, which I'll work on checking on that. I will, and or even on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn too, Facebook. So I'm getting savvier and savvier every day. And I think that's all I got for you there. So let's switch back over. And then last little thing, these readings that I do, they're not gender specific readings. So apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations. And before we get into this thing, we're going to bring in some good vibes here. So I'm going to ring this bell. So adjust your volume if you need to, but let's give this a couple rings and let's get into this thing. Groovy. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Oh, so you have the Sanctuary of Light and Mugwort card here. And this is a card, this is a card, a portal. And this is this is air and earth energy. And this is a card of 5D, healing temple, and astral travel. And you know what? That astral travel, this is, okay, let me stay focused. I got a lot of thoughts with this. This astro travel, this is giving me this, like when I was talking about that visualization, that opposition, it's almost like I'm seeing, like you seeing yourself in the future, this thing that you're wanting to do, visualizing, okay, I want to make more time for, maybe you used to do a lot of yoga before and it felt good. It's like, okay, I'm seeing myself carving out maybe 5-10 minutes a day doing some light stretches. Or maybe if you work them in and maybe if you got like a busy work schedule, maybe work them in during your breaks and things like that. Okay, or maybe do like, let's take a couple minutes, do some standing routines, or maybe even find some exercises that you can do maybe if you work at a desk job, or a place where you're more sedentary, finding some sort of like workouts that you can do there. Like, this is me. It's like you're getting a preview of what's on the other side of the portal before you actually walk through, and kind of getting yourself in that preparation for this thing. But Mugwort is a very interesting herb. I've worked with it a little bit, but mugwort, if I'm remembering correctly, and do some research on this, I have to check this out, it can be a really great herb for doing dream work. So that's something too that I feel is happening. Maybe there is this need, this healing temple is like restoring your view. Maybe you've been seeing things from like a two-dimensional state, and now we're needing to see things from a more complex sort of way. Let your imagination, I feel, expand some, I feel, is what this sanctuary of light is even giving me here. Allowing yourself to go through this portal to see what are some things that could come out for you. What are some beautiful things that could potentially happen here? There's this dragon that's just hanging out here. Something mysterious, something mystical is happening. Oh, interesting. I'm even getting like a north node, south node energy where you're thinking about where you've come from as opposed to where you're wanting to go next. It's like you're moving from the 3D, maybe even hop into the 5D here. There's some sort of like, and maybe even with this Aries energy, maybe you're thinking about making some, I'm getting a very inspired even energy here. Let me get some tarot on this and find out what's going on with that. But I'm getting even with that air and earth energy. Maybe there's been something here, and just with the healing temple, maybe there's been something where you've had these thoughts, you've had these ideas, you wanted to go through this portal or to achieve this goal, but something has deterred it. And now it's like that healing is restoring the dream, getting back into, allow yourself to dream some a little bit, to allow your imagination to come forth. But let's see what's going on here. Thanks to myself. Oh, that's good. A lot going on here. So you have Dem Bones, which is the Judgment card, the Free Man, which is the Fool, Big Mama, which is the Sun, and then you have the Five of Knives, and then the Seven of Coins. And there's those whispers, those things, those maybe, this could be maybe other people kind of doubting your dreams possibly here, like that maybe kind of preventing you from transiting through this portal. And again, I don't necessarily think it's coming from it doesn't have to be from a malicious place. Maybe people are just putting their doubts, their fears. It's like maybe you want to start more time for this, but maybe you feel like, oh, this is frivolous because everyone else is working so hard. I'm not quite sure what that is. It's like everyone's working so hard, and it feels like that maybe you're slacking by doing things that are healing. That's very fascinating. I'm gonna get a little bit more on. Oh, okay, right now. I'm getting a little bit more on that right now. Hold on. let's see. Let me get a little bit more into this Five of Knives here. Oh, thanks, Spirit. Wow. So the Five of Knives, a lot of thinking here. The Five of Knives, it's clarified by the Nine of Knives and the Ten of Knives here. And so there's a lot of fears and anxieties, and maybe it's about where this portal will take you. I think that sometimes we can get caught up in the dream, that maybe it's like we like staying in the dream state because then it stays mystical, it stays magical. But once it's manifested, then it's like maybe you're worried that it's not going to turn out like you thought it would, or it's just like it's not receiving the support that maybe you thought. But again, I'm thinking that if this is something where it's other people's fears or anxieties that's keeping you from doing this travel, from going through this portal here, you know what? Aries is a great leader, great energy for inspiration. Bring the light. Bring that sunlight in on these fears and doubts that maybe other people or maybe yourself that has been brought on or has brought this on. But I feel like we all pick up our fears from somewhere, whether this be and doubts and things, and maybe this came from childhood or something like that. But Dem Bones is giving me there's this revelation that's coming through here that you can start this thing up whenever you're ready. And this woman here, she's picking up these pearls. There's a swine that's running away here. I'm getting this energy of be careful about casting that, what's that quote? Casting pearls amongst the swine. And it's just that I'm getting another energy here of maybe you're trying to bring others through this portal with you. Maybe you're even trying to raise people up, but they're not wanting to, they're not picking up what you're putting down. And so, you know what? Focus on you. Let this be something independent. Because I'm thinking with Mars, Mars is all about a challenge. He's all for, Mars is can be associated with like enemies and combats and things. And not that you're fighting with people, but it may be a battle that, how do you hold your dream where amongst all of these different vibrations that are going on? How do you keep that 5D mentality, that dream in that? So that's something interesting that's even coming through there. Let me get so hold on. Okay, let me get look at them bones. I'm getting an energy too. When you receive inspiration, when you receive the messages that are very clear, trust those. Trust them and see where it leads you. Okay. Because I think how this woman's got her mouth like, ooh, ooh. I think you're going to be surprised, and pleasantly so, at what you bring to fruition. And then I feel that in turn, when you're speaking from that 5D place, then you're just going to attract more people in that vibration as well. And this is something to keep in mind of too. This, I'm not speaking from a place where you're better than anyone or anything along those lines. It's more so that we're all at various degrees of consciousness in our journey, and it requires a different amount of time. Everyone has their own individualized journey. So that's something too, to try to not let, I feel, others know that when you ascend, others ascend as well. That's interesting. Let's get some more on this. Thanks, Spirit. Ooh, so you got the, oh, I love that. So you have the Strength card here, which is Leo, the sign that the sun rules over. Then you have the Son of Coins, which the suns are the pages in this deck. Then you have the Six of Baskets and the Three of Knives here. And this Three of Knives, this is giving me almost like what happens when you, because what is yours won't pass you by. But I'm just thinking about when we put aside dreams maybe for something else. Maybe you had this plan with the Son of Coins, but just like something happened here. Something in the past with the Six of Baskets where you wanted to share this thing, but it was just like I'm getting a message of it was just met with disappointment, possibly. And it could be maybe people are disappointed that maybe you took this, or feeling some type of way, or maybe even it's like maybe this energy of feeling a bit melancholy because it feels like this might be a bit of a lonely transition right now, this journey that you might be going through. But the Strength card here is holding that again, that 5D image, and know that those that you're meant to, those you're going to, as I feel old energies clear out, newness will come through as you come through this portal, is what I'm even getting here. I'm getting a message with the astro travel as far as bringing people's thoughts with you too. I'm even getting it to like the home space. That's interesting. It's like what people say, that Five of Knives. It's like it's like it really is just feeling kind of like stuck in you, possibly. And now it's like, it's like finding the strength to transcend that. This astro travel, it's not, I'm not getting like a leaving your body. That's not that type of astral thing that I'm necessarily feeling, right? But it's more so like a just maybe you're needing to remove yourself from a different situation or from a situation. Like if you find yourself at a toxic job, for example, then not engaging in those conversations, being very limited as far as like maybe what you're revealing to others at that time, if that's something that makes sense for you. Oh, and I'm getting the strength card here too. That's okay. There's another thing too with this portal that I feel like there's this courage that, of course, with the strength card that's needing to be had. Maybe we're at this. We've been looking at this next crossroads in life because that's what this portal could potentially be. This is just like if we're just kind of grounding that idea a little bit. This is like you're wanting to go into this next chapter for you, whatever that means, and it's having the courage to face that. I was thinking about this. I'm thinking about this story. What's his name from Daniel? What's that? Face the lions or something along those lines. But the lions only have as much. The lions feed off the fear. That's where that's what I'm getting. It's like this. It's but when you don't give it that strength, then or give it that energy, then they lose that strength over you. They don't. Then there's nothing to fear. See how she's holding, even though I'm not sure if you might feel a little apprehensive at first picking up this cougar, but she could not even bothered, unfazed, strong. She's in her healing temple. She's in her 5D. She's in her highest, in a really high vibration, and only just ascending further from here. And that's going to be something that I think people, instead of, and that's something too, maybe it's like instead of sharing ideas, maybe you've been feeling really inspired, you've been doing something that's been working for you, but people aren't receiving it well. Again, don't cast pearls to the swine. You don't have to go to them, let them come to you. And again, I'm just using that as an analogy that we're not insulting people. But let's get some. Let me get. Let's get some. Get a clarifier or some advice from Mars. Whew, I'll be able to speak here. Now you have the affirmation. Oh, I like that. The affirmation for a healing heart here. And let's switch back over, because there's a lot of healing that is going on here. And this could be where you're it's like I'm getting like it's either you're revisiting some sort of dream or revisiting some sort of passion, some sort of endeavor that you wanted to start, but maybe that you never got a chance to. It's always been somewhere that you travel to, maybe in your dreams or your daydreams. But it's something that's ready to live outside of the heart, outside of the mind. It's wanting to take root. And I like how this person is comforting this other one. It's in the sense of, listen, I'm almost getting like, I understand your pain, and it's never too late. It's never too late to start up whatever it is that you're doing, to cross over into whatever portal, next chapter, boundary that you're getting ready to cross over here. But I would even look into maybe if you've been having a lot of recurring dreams. That's something that's even kind of popping through there. Something that may be trying to get a message out to you that could be very healing for your heart space. That could be very healing for your passions, for your drive. With the strength card in Big Mama here, this is your soul's light empowering you, is what I'm getting. This is your divine creativity here, is what I'm getting. Like tapping into your divine design, your perfect health, wealth, prosperity, and self-expression is what I feel is wanting to come to pass here. And maybe this is someone you're maybe needing to talk with someone who's more supportive of your dreams, someone who will take those pearls that you have and we'll make a necklace with them, or we'll make a bracelet with them, or we'll make some sort of tapestry, maybe we'll weave them, whatever that's looking like, someone who's going to help kind of cultivate this thing. And I feel like with the Seven of Coins too, that's a card for being patient with the process and enjoying the process, the healing process. It's going to take some time, but it's not like it's going to be a laborious thing or something that's going to be really heavy or burdensome. It's going to help in the long run. If you've been wanting to maybe learn dancing or get into dance, that's going to be a lot of work if you've not done that. Maybe you got to get used to moving the body, got to get to stretching afterwards. But once you get into that, man, how invigorating, how revitalizing that is. So, an opportunity is coming. An opportunity is opening. So, are you ready to go through that portal? I'm with it. I think I'm going to leave that there. So, if you like that, if anything resonated with you, give it a thumbs up. And share this thing. If you know someone who could potentially resonate for this, who's ready to pass through this portal here, your thoughts become things with that air and earth energy. So, it's like take your ideas and ground that stuff. And subscribe there, Big Mama. Hit that bell button to get notified on all these videos each day. And then, last little bit. If you want to know what's going on in the weekly celestial forecast outside of the moon, come on over to my other channel, Alchemist 8, where I discuss that, talk about the cosmic chit-chat that's going on. And I also do videos on different planetary placements in different signs and different houses. So that's just a bit of a little series that I've been working on here. And all that housekeeping, it's down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise card or cards here so I can get you out of here. Oh, all right. So you have the cat's claw here. Love that Leos. I don't know, we're talking about that Puma. So you got the cat's claw here, which is the card of purification. And this is associated with Mars and Pluto. And them bones, that's Pluto energy. So to me, this is giving me channeling your energies in a way that brings about this sense of catharsis. I think, and I'm feeling that whatever this endeavor is, this dream, this 5D level of you, will bring about this state of new harmony. Will have you operating from your highest truth and getting more so into that habit. And that is so healing for just the whole experience when you're operating more when you feel more in alignment with yourself, when you feel that, when you're noticing the growth that's happening, when you're seeing how the light is getting bigger, when you're noticing that more opportunities that are coming up here. And I'm just thinking about how cats move. There's a nimbleness that is happening. I mean, you see how this little panther here is just kind of gliding across these cat claws. And that's interesting. I'm getting this. I got a message of there's this idea. And when I say it's lurking in the shadows, it's in the astral realm right now. There's something that's been lurking around your strength. That inner lion, that tiger, that puma, that whatever feline it's ready to pounce. It's ready to just yeah, let's go get this thing. But I do think that I'm getting there's this, it's a patience, again, like that 7 of coins, and you're gonna know when things are really kind of taking off here. When it's like I'm like that's what I'm getting, and yeah, I faith that that'll resonate if that's a message that's looking for, or if that's needing to find you. But I think I'm gonna leave that there. Oh, one more thing. With Mars and Pluto. Pluto is a higher octave of Mars, and so we're working towards that 5D, working towards that transcendence. So, all right, but until next time, stay mindful out there. Keep raising that vibration through the roof. Keep eyes on the moon, and I will catch you on the next one, Venus Day.